Ferrari boss defends Miami orders amid Hamilton, Leclerc frustration. Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur has robustly defended the strategic decisions made by the Scuderia during the recent Miami Grand Prix, particularly in relation to managing the positions of drivers Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Despite both drivers voicing frustration over team orders during the race, the situation unfolded with Hamilton on a different tire strategy having started on mediums compared to Leclerc's hards after their respective pit stops, closing in on his teammate who was running ahead. Hamilton felt he had the pace advantage to potentially challenge Andrea Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes for a higher position and communicated his desire to be allowed past Leclerc. The initial hesitation from the Ferrari pit wall to sanction a swap led to a tense exchange over team radio, with Hamilton expressing his impatience. He was heard querying the delay and at one point sarcastically suggesting the team take a tea break, later referencing his willingness to yield to a faster teammate in China as an example of good teamwork, implying the reciprocal action was expected in Miami. Leclerc, for his part, was also reportedly uncomfortable with the close proximity of Carlos Sainz behind him and the overall handling of the situation, though his public comments post-race were more measured, acknowledging the inherent frustration of battling for minor points. Eventually, Ferrari did instruct Leclerc to allow Hamilton through to pursue Antonelli. However, when Hamilton was unable to make significant inroads on the Mercedes, the team then reverted the order, telling Hamilton to let Leclerc repass, a directive he followed, though sources suggest he may not have been immediately aware this counterswap was coming. This sequence of events, particularly the perceived delay in the initial swap and the subsequent reversal, fueled the drivers' frustrations which were audible on the global broadcast. Speaking after the race, Vasseur acknowledged the emotional nature of the cockpit environment and the competitive instincts of his drivers, both being champions who naturally want to maximize their own results and race potential. He stressed that he understood their frustration, stating that asking drivers to yield position to a teammate is never an easy request to make or for them to receive. However, Vasseur was firm in his defense of the team's actions, asserting that the decisions were made with the best interests of the team as a whole in mind and were executed according to Ferrari's established internal protocols for such situations. He explained that the initial delay in facilitating the swap was not due to indecision but rather the need for the pit wall to accurately assess whether Hamilton's apparent pace advantage was genuine or merely an effect of benefiting from DRS behind Leclerc. Vasseur maintained that once they had analyzed the situation, the decision to swap was made and implemented. He further clarified that the policy of the team dictates that if a swap is initiated to give one driver a chance to attack a car ahead, and that attack proves unsuccessful, positions should be reverted if it is strategically appropriate, which he deemed to be the case in Miami. Vasseur dismissed suggestions of inertia in the decision-making process, highlighting the complexity of managing real-time race strategy with myriad factors at play. He also pointed out that the timing of radio messages as broadcast can sometimes distort the perception of how quickly decisions are made on the pit wall. Despite the public airing of frustrations, Vasseur expressed confidence in his relationship with both Hamilton and Leclerc, describing it as being built on trust and mutual understanding developed over time. He stated that he had spoken with Hamilton after the race to address his concerns, and that while he could perfectly understand the driver's perspective in the heat of the moment, the team stood by its strategy. Vasseur emphasized that Ferrari first remains the guiding principle behind their race management decisions. He concluded by saying that while the team is always reviewing its processes to improve, he believed that in Miami, despite the drivers' understandable frustration, they ultimately did a good job from the pit wall in managing a challenging situation under pressure, asserting that not many teams would have taken the tough decision to implement and then reverse the orders as Ferrari did. The incident in Miami, while creating tension on the radio and prompting post-race discussions, underscores the delicate balance teams must strike between optimizing the collective result and managing the individual ambitions of highly competitive drivers.